Welcome! I am No Coffee, No Life. Today I'm going to be putting that Halloween building bundle to the test in a location that I think is perfect for it. We're going to be building today in the Savage Divide, close to two in-game locations, Foundation and the Mountainside Bed and Breakfast. Now, if you know those two locations, you might have a very good idea as to where I am right now and where I will be building. For those of you that aren't aware, we're going to be building on this set of stairs and landings that you can find winding their way up the cliffs from the Mountainside Bed and Breakfast. It's gonna be neat, it's gonna be challenging, a little frustrating, but when does that never happen during a build? So let's get started on it, shall we? We're going to lay 4 foundations down for the main part of the house, 1 additional piece of foundation outlying on the side for an extension that will link up to this platform, and 2 porch pieces. At first you'll see that I've put a lot of extra foundations down. When I get to a site, the first thing I do is play around with the space to see exactly how much I can get away with. This location is actually pretty cool because that platform will take foundation pieces, except for in 2 locations. The center pieces on the second row. You can't place foundations there, but everywhere else you can, which makes it nice. It lets us incorporate this platform into the build. And that foundation that had texture on it is going to be that part of that extension. Now this is the front, and I'm building 2 pillars that are going to be on either side of the stair as you're coming up, and I'm using those wavy Willard columns. I'm doubling up on them so that I can get them to the right height, and I'm going to merge them down so that the top of these pillars lines up with the top of the wall that they're going to be resting against. Now take your time, there's really no rush, because if you rush this, you're going to pull your hair out because it's frustrating to get it almost to where it needs to be and then to merge it too much and do this where you've gone too far. So we're going to reset it, do it again, and set it so that it is perfectly lined up on both sides. So we're going to merge this one again so that it looks good, that it's lined up perfectly and meets with the top of the wall. Onward to the rest of the build. I'm going to torch these, like I said before, so that I can fit the stairs, because I won't be able to put the stairs down if I don't burn them. And now I can put my stairs in, and it's not a problem. This rock is not going to let us obviously place a wall, so we're going to adjust the foundations. We're going to adjust both of them so that they're above this rock. Then we won't have to worry about the rock, and the bonus is that it will look like this house was built on the rock and that it's gracefully curving up the front of the house. I'm going to put my walls up. See, I have the haunted house pack wall, and I'm mixing it up with a wooden wall. I'm doing that intentionally because I like the Halloween walls, but I want to add more texture than they provide. And I know that these are brand new walls and I shouldn't worry about it, and that all of this sounds silly, but we want to rough them up a bit more. And, you know, we want to do some fun stuff like this. And I can't do that if I just use a straight Halloween wall, can I? I can't. I have to put the door frames. So that's gonna look cool, I think. I'm gonna adjust this further though, because as I said earlier, I put down a lot more foundations than I ultimately used. The final footprint for the house is going to be 2x3 with 2 foundations bridging the house and the pre-existing deck. It needs to be pruned down a little bit. It's hard to work around these rocks. So I'm gonna burn these walls to make our front entrance. And I'm going to place one of these angled roofs that has the peak, the little dormer. I'm going to put it up there. So we're going to have that. That's going to be the cover for our front entrance. I'm going to burn that wall again. Aside from placing the wall that's going to have the front door and the stairs, which should appear in a second here. There they are. This is how the front entrance is going to appear. I am taking out this foundation and these walls because this space is not going to work the way I initially planned to have a bigger house at this location. The foundations that jut out beyond the 2x3 footprint for this house just don't mesh with the rock that I'm building on top of. They look out of place and odd. So I've eliminated them. I want the house to look like it belongs here, not like I just have this weird floating foundation. So I've redone it. I've removed 2 foundations and they're going to get replaced with porches. I'm going to remove this wall and raise this foundation so it matches up with the concrete foundation to its right, because this is where we're going to place our staircase to the 2nd floor. I'm going to close off this living room space again and double wall it once more so that it's enclosed and resembles a house more so than a platform with no walls. We're going to put this roof here, this little angled roof, and like I said, double wall. And this is the stair I'm using. It's the Antiquities stair from the previous season because it goes with what I have as an idea for the house. I'm going to switch out this arch to the haunted house arch and then quickly put this floor in and start putting walls up on the 2nd floor, because for the most part, now that we have the 1st floor done for this house, the 2nd isn't going to be as problematic as the 1st. I say that, but there's still some issues to work on in this house, and you're going to see it right now. That gap is thanks to the higher foundations that are on the right side of this house. To compensate for that, I have to use half-height walls, but you're going to see that in a little bit. Right now I'm going to put the 2 porches that I mentioned earlier out here, out back, with their accompanying stairs so you can step down onto the porch. And I'm going to double wall the exterior of one of them. I could have raised this porch to meet up with the foundations on this side of the house, but I didn't want to. It provides a nice lower level to the house. Anything to make our haunted house look more layered and tiered is a good thing. I'm going to add these porch railings from the haunted house set. This one won't fit, but the chain link fence will fit here perfectly. I'm going to double wall the exteriors and put some walls here, close off this area, and put up a half wall. This is how I'm patching the gap between the 1st and the 2nd floors. Now, you don't have to use the responder signs. You can use any of the signs that you already have, whether they're from scoreboards or plans that you learned from quests or whatever. Any sign will do. You just need to close up this gap and make it so that you can't see the exterior. That's all. This is one of 2 gaps that I'm going to close. You're going to see the 2nd half a little later on. But for right now, I'm going to switch this to a solid wall, and that's what it looks like once it's been patched. I'm going to remove that foundation and close this. Oh, wait, that's right. I have to strip all of this and move foundations because this foundation, which I intend on keeping, needs to move a little bit towards the cliffside because where it is right now, I cannot put a wall right up against this threshold between the house and the pre-existing observation platform that's here. So to set the foundation so that I can place a wall, I have to first align this foundation with that topmost step, because that'll give me the clearance to put a wall down. Once I've got it aligned, I'm going to place a 2nd foundation behind it, closer to the edge of the cliff. And when I place that one, I'm going to align it with this 1st foundation so that they're right in line with each other, and that 2nd further out foundation is also in line with the top stair. Now that I have both foundations in place, I can move this 1st foundation back to the 2nd foundation. Now I can clip 2 other foundations so that they'll be in line with that top step and have them join with the actual building. Now it's in the right spot for me to place this wall. And there you have it. I can go ahead and put the half wall back up and close off the rest of the area. I'm gonna take that out for now and readjust these foundations so that they are in line with the footprint of the house, so it doesn't look like they're off or anything's weird. I'm going to put these walls back and it'll look like it's always been this way. Actually, I'm just going to add another foundation on the outside so you don't see the stairs. But for right now, we're going to address other things, like this roof. We're going to place that. We're going to put this extension on. We're going to put this wall, burn it, and then close that off. And here's our back porch. And here's the house so far. This is how it's looking. Not too shabby. We're going to add some more of the haunted house bundle walls. Don't worry about that. But remember that other section I said that we had to plug up the gap between the roof and the wall? Well, this is that section. And I'm using some more of those responder signs, and it turns out really nice. Like I said, you could use any sign. I am going to make some further adjustments to this building by putting a wall here and a half wall that I'm going to switch out to the wood wall and just put that there so that I would have a better idea of what I was looking at with that roof burnt. So I'm going to switch out that wall for the haunted house wall with the window, and it's done. We'll switch it back to a wooden half wall, and that caps off this corner of the house, and it's looking pretty good. It's looking nice using those pieces. Now we're going to quickly work on the rest of the second floor. I'm going to adjust this side because the front half is going to be a little lower than the back. I'm going to use a half wall, burn it, set another half wall in, repair the first, then place the remaining walls and roofs, and burn a few so that I can place walls and roofs. And here's our final product, the haunted house on the cliffside in all its glory, with its bats floating in the air thanks to the fog machine. It's all lit up, it's complete, and it's ready for us to visit it. So let's take a look inside, shall we? As you can see, I've got pumpkins on the porch, on the stairs. We've cluttered it up with plants. There's some bone chimes hanging on the side. It's lit up by these two lovely oil lamps. And we have the doorbell to announce our arrival again. And the creepy front door, which squeaks, which is so awesome. We're gonna go inside to the foyer, and you can see our angry sloth head. Got a bunch of stuff crammed in here. It's a little foyer. It's teeny tiny. And here's the little hallway with our lights on the walls, the bats out the window, some vines creeping up. It's looking good. And here's our living area with the piano and a warm fire, and the sitting area with a radio. It's just simple decorations, nothing too complicated. We're gonna go up the stairs now. You can see we've got our curtained windows and a bunch of stuff on the wall as you come up the stairs. All these relics from previous owners cluttering up the wall. Oh, and our lovely shelf with skull candles, cluttered display, and our little library study area tucked in over here. And finally, the bedroom. Who can say what lurks behind this door? Oh! So sorry to have disturbed you, lady with a giant poofy dress and sack hood. Let's move on. I love those skulls, they're just so cute. Let's go down the stairs and take a look at the last spot. The little laboratory we have packed onto the back in this one little location, and that's it. That's the house in its entirety. It's pretty compact. It turned out really nice. It was really interesting to mix up the haunted house set with the sets that are already in the game. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. I enjoyed making this build, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. I hope you got inspired to use your haunted house set if you haven't already, or to mix it up a bit with other parts from other sets. If you like what you see here, then click on that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you're aware when new videos release. But until next time, happy building in the wasteland.